Lenny says, what's up with me? Been in relationship 28 years, separated now, single 2 years now, had two short relationships which have not worked. I wonder what's going wrong. Female, 58 UK. Love your advice, please. Lenny, there is nothing going wrong. This is just the way it will crumble. It's like that for every one of us, whether we are 20 years old or 60 years old or more. We are dynamically forming and conditioning our consciousness. And we are our consciousness. If you have a healthy mind and everything works well, we are our consciousness. Our center, our persona, comes from the content of our consciousness. And the content of the consciousness are what having a relationship with each other. Most people think that their relationship is between them and the other person. But in fact, what they don't realize is that the relationship that they're looking at and they're engaged in is a relationship between the image they have of themselves in their own mind and the image they have of the other person in their own mind. And the other person has an image of themselves in their own mind, and they have an image of you in their own mind. And these two images are having a relationship. They don't even know it's either each other's consciousness. Consciousness doesn't even come to play until further on. So they start this relationship between the images, and these images are constantly changing. You know, when you go to a grocery store to buy something, your supermarket, you have an image of a shopper. And if you're working at the supermarket, you have an image of a clerk. If you're riding on the bus, you have an image of a passenger. If you're riding the bus, you have an image of a driver. You go to school, image of a student. You're teaching a class, image of a teacher. You come to your parents, you have an image of a son or daughter. You talk to your children, you have an image of a mother or father. These images are constantly during the day, depending on what it is that you want to do, are created and then disposed of. Created and disposed of. And these are the two images that you're having a relationship between. Both of you are changing images according to what it is that you're doing. And when you come together, you have a different image. So the images are having a relationship. And in the meantime, as the time goes by, you start getting to know some notion of the other person's consciousness according to how they handle situations in real life, even when you go to have coffee or tea, according to how you treat each other, the level of selfishness or selflessness. And little by little, you see, wow, the person that I was having a relationship with is not the person that I'm actually beginning to know according to his behavior and interaction with life. That's the consciousness, that's the real persona. And this relationship was just between the images. And soon enough, you will find out, well, it's not working. Why? Because now the consciousnesses are becoming aware of each other. And they can now see the divisions and conflicts, and naturally so, because each person is totally different, like your thumbprints. Even if you were born in the same city and the same block you were raised, you have a different conditioning in the consciousness. The way your parents dealt with you, the books that you read, the movies you watched, the school you went, the comparisons you received, the everything else that you were exposed to has created the weaves of the content of your consciousness. And that has made you who you are. And that is always different in two different people. And that is where the divisions and conflicts are. And that's where it becomes apparent when you get to know each other a little bit more. Everything is going to be good in the first year. A problem starts when you start getting to know the reality and actuality of each one of you when you start understanding each other's consciousness, including your own. So at age 58, you have a certain consciousness that is already developed in more ways than one. And that consciousness is difficult and different than the person who's, I don't know, 58 years old, 55, 40, or 60 years old that you have a date on. And you're attracted for one reason or another to each other, but the consciousnesses are not in play. And when they come into play, you see the differences. That's why it doesn't work. So there's nothing wrong with you. It's just the fact that this is a fact of life. Our persona is our consciousness. And our consciousness have been set in certain ways and are always different from the other person. At our age, it's a little bit more challenging to develop an engaging consciousness when we are much younger. When we're much younger, we have no tolerance and understanding of it. So as soon as there's something different between the two consciousnesses, even at that age, we divorce or separate. When we are older, we have understanding of who we are, but then that is the way we are. And the other people, similar age, they also have kind of, it's solid now, their consciousness, and the difference is they are not going to be so flexible to change. And the conflicts and divisions becomes even more apparent when we are at the age when we're, about 60 years old or so on. So it becomes, because we feel that we have learned so much, we're not going to change, and we have been conditioned to find our comfort in the way we have handled our life and the way we negotiate our daily life. So we're not going to be as flexible as before. So that's the way it is. It's nothing wrong with you. That's just the way we all are. So either you got to be a little bit more flexible, or they got to be a little bit more flexible, or you guys got to give each other enough time to kind of roll down the hill together to get more acquainted, familiarized, and be able to handle each other's differences. And that's the whole key, to be able to tolerate and handle each other's differences. Because if you're looking for a relationship where there would be no differences, well, you will be waiting for a long time. It won't happen. There are always differences, conflicts, and divisions. The ability and expertise to handle and deal with these conflicts and divisions is what makes a relationship work or not. Otherwise, there always, at any age, there will be conflicts and divisions based on the differences in the conditionings each of our consciousness have received throughout our life and our experiences in this life. Hope that answers your question. Lainey from UK.